Pyramids. Giza Pyramids. The Giza Pyramid Complex is also called the Giza Necropolis. It is an archaeological site on the Giza Plateau in Greater Cairo, Egypt. The complex includes the Great Pyramid, the Pyramid of Khafre, and the Pyramid of Menkaure, along with the Great Sphinx. All of these pyramids were built during the Fourth Dynasty of the Old Kingdom in ancient Egypt, between 2600 and 2500 BC. The site also includes several tombs and the remains of a workers' village. The complex is located on the edge of the Western Desert, about 9 kilometers, 5.6 miles, west of the Nile River, in the city of Giza, and about 13 kilometers, 8 miles, southwest of downtown Cairo. The Great Pyramid of Khufu and the Pyramid of Khafre are among the largest pyramids built in ancient Egypt. They are by far the oldest and only surviving ancient wonders of the world. And the pyramids, according to one of the hypotheses, are royal tombs, each bearing the name of the king who built it and was buried in it. Pyramid construction is a stage in the development of tomb architecture in ancient Egypt. It started with a small hole that turned into an underground room, and then into several rooms topped with a terrace. Then it developed to take the form of a step pyramid by the engineer Imhotep, the minister of the pharaoh and King Djoser in the Third Dynasty. The engineer, Hemeyuno, the architect of King Khufu, was able to achieve the ideal pyramidal shape, and he built the Pyramid of Khufu in Giza on an area of 13 acres. This was followed by the Pyramids of Khafre and Menkaure. Building. It took nearly 20 years to build the Great Pyramid, and the construction of the passages and the lower parts of the pyramid 10 years. This is according to what was mentioned by Herodotus, the Greek historian who visited Egypt in the 4th century BC, after more than 2,000 years. The stones used to build the Great Pyramid were cut from the area around the pyramid. The outer cladding stones are from Mount Torah, and the granite stones used in the interior rooms are from Aswan quarries. And they used to bring it through the Nile River, which was reaching the pyramid area at that time. The stones were cut and separated from each other by making holes at close distances in the piece of stone to be cut. Then some wooden pegs are hammered into it, and water is placed on it. The more the wood is soaked with water, the more it grows inside the pieces of the stone, and with the continuation of the hammering on it, it separates from each other. It is then ground and polished using a stronger type of stone such as granite or diorite. The ancient Egyptians used a sandy road to build the pyramids, where pieces of stone were placed on wooden sleds, with round palm trunks running like wheels. The sleds are pulled by ropes and bulls, with water sprayed on the sand to facilitate the pulling process. And as the height increases, they increase sand to the top of the pyramid, then the pyramid is covered with smooth limestone from top to bottom, and the sand is gradually removed. Pyramids and Sphinx. The Giza Pyramid Complex consists of the Great Pyramid, also known as the Pyramid of Khufu, and was constructed around 2580 to 2560 BC. The Pyramid of Khafre, which is smaller than it, is located a few hundred meters to the southwest. And the relatively modest Pyramid of Menkaure a few hundred meters to the southwest. As for the Great Sphinx, it is located on the eastern side of the complex. Most Egyptologists agree today that the head of the Great Sphinx is the head of King Khafre. In addition to these main monuments, there are a number of small monuments affiliated with it, known as the Pyramids of the Queens, the Bridges, and the Pyramids of the Valley. The Great Pyramid of Khufu. Khufu, his father Snefru, and his mother, Queen Hetepheres I, Khufu 2650 BC. It is the short name of Khnum Khofoii Khnum, he who protects me. History reminds Khufu that he built the greatest building on earth, which is the Great Pyramid of Giza. The only surviving miracle of the 7 ancient wonders of the world. Its greatness is due not only to the immensity of its construction, but also to its impressive internal planning. A cemetery was built around him with small pyramids for his wives and his mother, Hetepheres. In addition to tombs in the form of terraces for members of the royal family and senior officials. The original height of the Great Pyramid is 146 meters, and now it has become approximately 137 meters, and the length of its base side is 230 meters. As for the weights of the stone pieces, they range from 1 ton to 8 tons or more. But can we imagine that this king is the owner of this gigantic building, for whom we found only one very small statue, approximately 7.5 centimeters in size? As the king forbade at this time the erection or carving of any statues. Where we did not find large statues in this period, except for one statue, and it was hidden in the tomb of Prince Rahatep and his wife. Perhaps the king himself wanted to prevent the erection of statues. King Khufu called his pyramid the name, Khufu's sister, meaning the horizon of Khufu, due to the religious changes that occurred in his era. The pyramid of King Khufu was not spared from destruction throughout the ages, as Diodor of Sicily pointed out. Until the top of the Great Pyramid is a platform about 3 meters wide and 2 meters long. However, the top of the pyramid is not a platform, but a pyramid that may have been covered with gold. Part of his drapery was destroyed and lost. The pyramid of King Khufu was surrounded by a wall, the remains of which still stand today, on the eastern and northern sides, at a distance of 20 meters from the base of the pyramid. Khafre Pyramid. The Pyramid of Khafre is one of the pyramids of Giza in Egypt. It was built by King Khafre, the fourth king of the Fourth Dynasty, son of King Khufu. He married Princess Enkberths. He ruled 26 years. The second pyramid was built from the pyramids of Giza, which is lower in height than the pyramid of his father, Khufu. Its height was 143 meters, and now it is 136 meters. It was built on an area of 215 square meters and has 2 entrances on the north side. It still retains part of its outer cladding at the top. The Pyramid of Khafre is located southwest of the pyramid of his father Khufu. Its height is 143.5 meters, and the length of each side is 215.5 meters. And an inclined angle of 53.10 degrees. It is located at ground level, and the entrance leads to a descending corridor with a granite roof. Its slope angle is 22 degrees, and it ends at a rampart that leads to a horizontal corridor, then a sloping corridor that leads to a chamber that is mistakenly called the burial chamber. It is a blank carved into the rock and leads to the vestibule. To another rampart that rises to the top with a horizontal corridor that ends in the burial chamber. This room has a gabled roof made of limestone, and it is almost the middle of the pyramid. The length of the base of the pyramid is 215.5 meters, 706 feet, and it rises to a height of 136.4 meters, 448 feet. It is made of limestone blocks weighing more than 2 tons each. The slope of the pyramid rises at an angle of 53 degrees 13 inches, which is steeper than its neighbor, the Pyramid of Khufu, which has an angle of 51 degrees 24. The Pyramid of Khafre is located on a rock base 10 meters, 33 feet, higher than the Pyramid of Khufu, which makes it appear taller. It is likely that the pyramid was opened and robbed during the First Intermediate Period. During the 19th Egyptian dynasty, the supervisor of the construction of the temple took the cover stones from the pyramid to build a temple on the orders of Ramesses II. The Arab historian Ibn Abd al-Salam recorded that the pyramid was conquered in 1372 AD. On the wall of the burial chamber, there are Arabic language inscriptions probably dating from the same time. When the original entrance was found on the north side, Belthsoni hoped to find an intact burial. But the room was empty except for an open coffin with its lid broken on the floor. Like the Great Pyramid, an outcropping was used for the core. Because of the slope of the plateau, the northwest corner was cut 10 meters, 33 feet, out of the rock subsoil and the southeast corner was built over. The pyramid is built of horizontal tracks. The stones used at the bottom are quite large, but as the pyramid rises, the stones become smaller and 50 centimeters, 20 in, thick at the top. The casing stones cover the upper third of the pyramid, but the casing for the rest of the pyramid and part of the top are missing. The bottom layer of the casing stones was made of pink granite, but the rest of the pyramid was encased in limestone from Tura. Close examination reveals that the edges of the corners of the remaining casing stones are not perfectly straight, but overlapped by a few millimeters. Corridors and chambers inside the Pyramid of Khafre. 2 entrances lead to the burial chamber, one at a height of 11.54 meters, 37.9 feet, at the top of the face of the pyramid and the other at the base of the pyramid. These passages do not line up with the central line of the pyramid, but they face it to the east by 12 meters, 39 feet. The descending lower corridor is completely hewn from the foundation stone. It descends, passes horizontally and then ascends to join the horizontal corridor leading to the burial chamber, which opens to the west of the lower aisle. Its purpose is uncertain. It may be used to store offerings or store burial equipment, or it may be a crypt room. The upper descending passage is covered with granite and slopes to join the horizontal passage leading to the burial chamber. The burial chamber was carved out of a hole in the rock. The roof is constructed of gabled limestone beams. The room is rectangular, 14.15 m x 5 m 46.4 by 16.4 feet. Oriented between east and west. Khafre's sarcophagus was carved from a solid block of granite and partially sunk into the ground. Menkaure Pyramid. The Pyramid of Menkaure or the Pyramid of Menkaure is the smallest of the 3 main pyramids of the Giza Pyramid complex. It is located on the Giza Plateau in the southwestern suburbs of Cairo, Egypt. It is believed to have been built to serve as a tomb for the Egyptian pharaoh Menkaure, son of King Khafre of the Fourth Egyptian Dynasty. The length of each of its sides is 108.5 meters, and the height is 65.5 meters. Its length is currently 62 meters, after the fall of its outer cladding. Its inclination angle is 51 degree 2025 and its entrance is to the north. The entrance is about 4 meters above the ground. It leads to a downward corridor 31 meters long. Its slope angle is simple, about 17 degrees. It was built of limestone, but Menkaure chose to build the lower part of it from granite, which was brought from Aswan via the Nile River. The height of the coverage with granite stones reaches about 17 meters. The rest of the coverage was done with white Torah stones up to a height of 5.65 meters. At the end of the inclined corridor, there is a stone-lined vestibule that leads to a horizontal corridor with 3 barricades, and then the burial chamber. He found a wooden coffin with Menkaure's name on it, and his mummy. Menkaure's mummy is now preserved in the British Museum. Menkaure called his pyramid the sacred name. To the south of the Pyramid of Menkaure, there are 3 pyramids devoted to queens extending towards the east. West of the first pyramid belonged to Queen Ka-Merar Nabti II, wife of King Menkaure. Size and construction. The Pyramid of Menkaure had an original height of 65.5 meters, 215 feet, and was the smallest of the 3 main pyramids in the Giza Pyramid complex. Its height is now 61 meters, 200 feet, and its base is 108.5 meters, 356 feet. Its angle of inclination is about 51 degrees, 20 to 25 degrees Celsius. It was constructed of limestone from Torah and granite from Aswan. The first 16 courses on the outside are made of red granite. The upper part was sheathed in the usual way with limestone from Torah. Leave a portion of the granite in the rough. There are 3 satellite pyramids located south of the Pyramid of Menkaure, each accompanied by a temple and infrastructure. The easternmost is the largest real pyramid. Its casing is partly made of granite, like the main pyramid. Sphinx. The Great Sphinx is a statue of a mythical creature with the body of a lion and the head of a human being, and it was carved from limestone. It is likely that he was originally covered with a layer of plaster and painted, and traces of the original colors are still visible next to one of his ears. It is located on the Giza Plateau on the west bank of the Nile in Giza, Egypt. The Great Sphinx is also a guardian of the plateau. It is the oldest known colossal sculpture, with a length of about 73.5 meters, including 15 meters in length for its front feet, and a width of 19.3 meters. And its highest height above the ground is about 20 meters to the top of the head. It is believed that the ancient Egyptians built it during the reign of King Khafre 2558 BC-2532 BC, the builder of the Middle Pyramid in Giza. This statue looks towards the east, so the original sides were changed in the last century to match the Sphinx's view. The Great Sphinx is a statue carved from one of the rocks of the Giza Plateau, which also served as a quarry for the Giza Pyramids and other monuments in the area. What explains the apparent uneven deterioration of the body of the Sphinx? The lower part of the body, including in that legs, made of solid rock. As for the rest of the animal's body, up to its neck, it consists of softer layers that have undergone significant disintegration. The layer where the head is sculpted is much harder. A number of blocked shafts are known to exist within and below the body of the Great Sphinx, most likely excavated by treasure hunters and grave robbers prior to 1925. There was a large recess similar to the one at the top of the Sphinx's head, thought to have been a fixing point for a carved crown or headdress added during the New Kingdom period.